We're going to talk about how to handle exceptions in Python. We went over some of this before in earlier sessions, but we're going to get more detail, and we're going to learn about something called try accept. But before we get going on that, let's make a program, a really simple one. So input, we're gonna have it input two numbers. Say enter first number, and let's grab another number. Call that num2. And we're going to go, after that, enter your second number. And we're going to go num3 equals the number 1 multiplied by number 2. And then we're going to get a result. We're going to print it out. Put some extra verbiage also. And the result is num3. Okay. Oh, we're going to have to turn this, use the int function to turn that to an integer. Okay. And likewise with num2, we're going to do the same there. Okay, so here's what we have. We have user enter first number, can make sure it's converted over to int, and assign it to num1. Do the same for num2, num3. We multiply num1 times num2 because we should have two integers. And then we print out what num3 is. Let's just do a quick run. Oh, it's going to want a name for this. Let's see where we are. Oh, we're going to call it test. Let's go for 14. Okay, first number 7. Second number 7. Hey, worked right. 7 times 7 is 49. But let's run it again. First number, and oh, then we put a T in there, and bombs out. Okay, so now that it's bombed out, we want to see how we can use a try to make this a little better. Let's go back into here. And what we're going to do is before that num1, we're going to say try. It's going to indent. Let's get the num1 over there. And so it tries, and we're going to have, if everything works out well, we're going to have it break, because we're going to put this in a in a bigger loop. While true. Okay, so now we're gonna have to put everything a little more over here. So in this big loop, if everything works out, and what the try does is that it's gonna check, and on exception, it's going to leave and go to an exception part, and based on that, we're going to do a value error, and we could actually, there's actually a variety of different kind of errors that we could capture if we want. So on another value error, we're going to go print say not an integer, and then we're going to say try again. In a little bit, I'm going to go over how to display the actual error and pull it and mix it in with whatever you whatever print you're doing. But for now, we're gonna keep it fairly simple, and then we're gonna do the rest of the program here. So we didn't add any of this special error checking on the other number. We just added it on one. And what happens with this while loop? This is basically an infinite loop until it gets broken out of. So it's going to run this forever, or until it hits a break. And if everything goes good with this statement here, it's going to break, and it will go on to the next num2. But if things don't go so well, it's going to print basically not an integer, try again, and then it's going to be back up here. So let's see if this does work. First number, and we're going to put a t in there. Not an integer. We're going to put a y. Well, that's not good either. We're going to put a 7 this time. That works. And a 77 there. We didn't add this to the next part. Ideally in a piece of code, you'd probably want to add it to both of these, and you might even want to go to go a whole nother step, and maybe this other step would be to pull everything out in a function, and so we don't have to have this whole while loop for every one. We can make a single function, get value, or that would probably be the best way to structure this in a program. But we're going for the quick. We're just going to trying to look at some things, see how this try works. Another thing we can use in conjunction with these tries, and I'm going to import system, and this is actually really cool. We can get the error, and then we could find the type of it, and we can display it, which is really kind of neat, especially not in this when we're only going to really have one type of error, but when you have a larger program, you might use the import sys, and from sys use exit to exit out of your program once this is done entering error and displaying it. So let's see what we're going to do here. So we're going to copy some of the code as we don't want to reinvent the wheel. So I'm going to leave the original up here for now, and we're going to import that. We're still only going to maybe test it out in one of these, so we're going to leave the break. But now right here, we're going to say as, well, you can put anything. I'm going to put error. So what this is going to do is it's going to allow me to print the actual type of the error. So when I go here, I'm going to go type, and I'm going to say error. So when and if it does hit here with that as, I'm going to capture that. So I'm going to type error. So, and then we're going to just say try again. Give me a little space. And let's see what else we're going to want to do. And we're going to use that system that we just imported in there. And let's see what we select. We want to select exit. And there's a lot of things we can use in this module. We're going to exit. And what that's going to do is exit the program gracefully. So we say when we reach an error, we want to stop. That's a really common thing, because maybe not on capturing with these little simple input errors. Probably those you want to say try again or whatever. But if you have a really serious error in your program, you could have a good portion of your maybe file I/O or some large part of your program with basically in a giant try except. And so when you hit one of these very serious errors, not like a little error, we're just going to use this as in the example to show you how to exit just nice gracefully from your program. You may want to print it, and then afterwards you may want to just exit the program. So let's try this, and we're going to comment these out, because we probably don't need to rerun this. I guess we could, but let's just comment it out, and here probably would have been quicker to just erase it, but we started down the road of commenting. We're going to just comment it out. Okay, so this time the idea is to go through here, and if for whatever reason everything goes good in the first one, like I said, you probably want to check the second one too if this were your real assignment. And if everything goes good, you exit this loop and go on to the next. If some goes bad, we're gonna print the error with this type. Is going to say the type of it, and then we're going to exit the program, not do any of this extra calculations. And this is extremely useful in large, complex programs that may be creating multiple, let's say CSV files or whatever. If something goes wrong, you don't want to continue with your program. In most of these samples in this course or any other course, most everything is, they're smaller chunks of code. You're learning things, but if you have a large Python program that does maybe 10 extracts that you send out to people, maybe email them to people, maybe they're sent to as CSVs to people to load in the cell. If something goes really wrong, you want to exit. In that there's an error, you're not quite sure what it is, you're going to exit, and it's the best thing to do, because you don't want to send out, let's say, 10 reports to different locations of your accounting department with different with wrong numbers. When you know something's wrong, many times in larger programs, you want to say what's wrong. We're just going to print it at the screen. Maybe you want to print to an error log, and so someone could check it later, and then exit the program immediately so bad data does not go out. So now we're going to run this. Okay. So in the perfect world, if everything goes well, we 7 times 7 is 49. It goes good. But what if everything doesn't go well? T. Okay. So, no, this is actually kind of funny. If you look at that, it says during handling of the above exception, another exception occurred. Just to show you how troublesome errors can be. What this means is that within the exception block of code, I have an error, which prevented us from trapping and handling our error correctly. And let's see what it is. Unrecognized. Oh, it doesn't understand type. Okay, I had a uppercase. So this is kind of interesting, kind of good. I guess what the lesson to be learned is, when you are using tries, make sure in your block of code that does handle the error that you don't have any errors. So let's try that again. Okay, let's go, and we're going to enter something wrong, and this time it got it. It trapped it, and then it exited as planned. What I want to do is go over one more quick tool that we can use with the try in this program that we've written. I'm going to reintroduce that error. We're going to run it, and it's going to bomb just like it did before. But now we want to add some extra. We want to add a finally clause. Oh, and I did it wrong. There we go. Okay. So what this is for is saying if it dies, if it dies and it dies even in the exception, it falls here and tries to do another task, and we're gonna have it just go print goodbye. So its final thing is say goodbye, which is, it's frivolous, and it's kind of would be a relevant thing to say you crashed, but this is just a sample program. But in an actual program, there might be something really important, like you might want to put, you close a file. There might be some on error that it has to be done. Whether if it's going down, you have to do one last thing. So this lets you do your one last thing, even if the error does occur when it does happen in the exception itself, it catches that. It might actually, we're saying print, it might be print to a log, program died in exception. But this just basically lets, under the circumstance that we had where I had some wrong in here, lets us go there. So let's run this. And well, that wasn't a clean one. I'm gonna just exit it just so we have a nice clean one to look at. Okay. So then I'm gonna go T, and you see it crashes, gives us the same error as before, but it did its one last thing, because here most likely it might be something that close a file and then print to a log, something like on the order of program crash during exception handling. Please check whatever needs to be checked.